Hey traders, welcome back. After Monday's price action, I wanted to do a really quick update. First of all, my analysis was completely wrong, didn't go as expected, and because of that, just wanted to give a quick update and give some explanations, some of the things that I saw as possible reasons why it didn't go as expected. So today I'm gonna focus primarily on EU. So right here we're on the 15-minute chart. I'll show you quickly what I was looking at. So I said on Friday we swept the lows, and thereafter that had a V-shaped recovery with a massive push to the upside, and we came right into OTE. And from this OTE area of this daily range, what I was looking for was a break of the range, pull back into PD arrays, and then after that shorts to take the price down. So I was actually in this short, but unfortunately it didn't go as expected. So came back into the order block that triggered the move to the upside, and then after that it broke structure to the upside. So what happened after that? So after breaking structure, price came down a little deeper. So you can see there's a really small fair value gap here. So that's the area that price came into, and as you can see, reacted off of it, and then with that push up, we had the next pullback where we could start to look for a long to take it to the upside. And then thereafter, so bear in mind this is still in Asia at this point, came up and once again created a higher high, and then this brings us to Frankfurt and London Open. So what happened then? Price came back down. You can see there's fair value gap here as well as the order block here, and then after that had a massive rally to the upside. So broke structure, had a pullback. You could have had a breaker entry here for continuation to the upside. And then what happened after that? So at this point we're already looking at New York Open. So we have our order block on this side, and you can see we reacted off this order block and had a massive pullback. So pulled back all the way to the origin, so the order block that started the move. So when I saw this rally, I was thinking to myself, why was I so off on my analysis? So I started to look for reasons what could have triggered the rally on Monday, and what we could be looking at least for the short term. So what I noticed when I started thinking about this, what was the catalyst for this move? I went to the futures chart. So I'm going to switch to the futures chart, and we see something really interesting here. So on the daily time frame on EU futures, you can see we have a volume imbalance that was created over here. We came into it previously, but this was a liquidity that was built that I was expecting to be taken out. So as you can see, it was swept on the futures contracts. So this was Friday where it swept the relatively equal lows over here, and then had that major rally to the upside thereafter. And then what happened after that? So we had our pullback, and then continuation. So for me, this could be a strong catalyst why we're seeing EU push up the way it's pushing up right now. And if you look at EU right now, so it failed to break this high, but there could be a reason for that. It's probably just building liquidity so it can drive through it if we maintain the bullish order flow. You can see that we are actually currently in the middle of a range. So after this massive pullback, we push back up. You can see there's an order block right here where we have the displacement down. So this is where price reacted from, and you can also see there's a balanced fair value gap as well that price reacted off. So this balanced fair value gap as well as order block is where we're starting to push down from. So we're in the middle of the range, but my expectation is now that we had a 4-hour shift, I'm thinking that we may see, at least short term, further continuation to the upside. So what's my trading plan in the coming days? So as I said, we're in the middle of this range. We're starting a pullback. We have fair value that we've already tapped into. So right now it's spread hours. Obviously I'm not going to be looking to enter any trades, but I may stay up for Japan Open and see if I can get an entry there. But even an entry there, it may go the opposite direction in Asia to push the price into the intended direction during London. So I'll be watching closely what happens at this fair value gap, but I'll also be watching the extreme order block. So this is the order block because you have the displacement after it. So I'll be watching this order block to see if price comes down here in this area to look for longs to push up and break this high. And one other thing I will note is if we look at our fibs, so if you look at the retracement level of this 15-minute demand, this is actually right in OT. So more confluence here to look for this area to take the price up. But at the same time, you could potentially say this is resting liquidity. Maybe price comes and sweeps this area. So let's say during Japan, so Japan Open, the way Japan Open works is usually you have some manipulation between 30 minutes, well, right after Japan Open up until maybe hour and a half into Japan Open. So we usually have that manipulation and then the price moving in the intended direction. So potentially we may see price come into here prior to London consolidation, and then once London comes, we see a manipulation shift and then take price to the upside. But at the same time, I can also see a scenario where the Japan manipulation pushes price down here and then immediately impulses to the upside. And if we see this scenario, this is something potentially that we can hold the rest of the day, because in this scenario Frankfurt pullback probably won't take this low. It'll come somewhere in between, maybe a breaker or fair value, and then after that continue to the upside. So this is what I'm looking short term for today, and maybe continuation tomorrow. And the areas that I'm targeting, so obviously the liquidity here, but ultimately I think this daily fair value gap is the most likely target that price will come to. So if I go on the daily, you can see a little clearer. So this seems like the most likely area that price will come to before it pushes back to the downside. So like I said, we should see price continue. Well, I'm not going to say we should. I think we'll see price continue up for the next couple days. But at the same time, we do have news later on in the week, which could be a huge catalyst to move price in one direction or the other. So if we've already come up to that daily fair value gap, then I'm thinking that some of those news events will probably push price back down. And there's one other thing that I wanted to mention before I end my analysis. So you can see right here we're building trendline liquidity. I'll also be watching to see if price comes back down and tries to attack this trendline liquidity, because you can see it's already balanced, but potentially price could come back down here. There is fair value here, but as you can see, it's already balanced as well. It's not to say it can't come back down, because it could use this area, for example, as liquidity to drive to before going back up. So I'll be watching this as well. But honestly, seeing the way the price is moving, and short term, I'm thinking will probably be bullish. I'll be looking or focusing more on these areas to see if we get that shift to push price to the upside. And we may see something like this where it's moving up in a huge range, creates internal liquidity, and then sweeps it during London, or maybe not even in London, later in Asia, and then goes a little higher and then comes back to fair value during London before rallying to the upside. But hopefully we see that prior to London, because I'm guessing Asia will bring price down, whether it's right at Japan Open or if it's right at Japan Open, which is this scenario, where we come right back down to the order block, and then after that shift and drive up during Asia. Or if we see price come down throughout Asia into relevant PD arrays, whether it's the order block or the fair value gap, consolidate, and then create bullish structure or a shift prior to Frankfurt or London Open. So anyways, before I end the video, just really quick, keep in mind, as I said before, we do have news later on in the week. On Wednesday we have PMI, and Thursday we have jobless claims, and on Friday Powell speaking. So all three of those events are very likely to move price. PMI will probably be more either tsunami or one way. Jobless claims could be multiple scenarios, and Powell will probably be fuckery, like price just whipsawing up and down. Okay, well anyways, that concludes my analysis for today. If you have any feedback or comments, please don't hesitate to comment below. And I'll see you for the next one. Peace. Hey, you made it to the very end. Thanks for that. If you could do me one more favor and click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, it'll allow the YouTube algos to kick in and help this channel grow. Thanks again. Cheers.